So in today's video, we're going to be talking about buying meta cards this Sunday because they should be rising all week. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs, and now for the last 4 years I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about investing in meta cards this Sunday because basically the market is going to keep on rising for the next week or two, and as a result there's some really nice easy investments. Now last week we saw the market rise as of the 26th. This is a completely normal trend to happen, but it is also normal for the market to keep rising this week and even next week as well. So here is an example of an abundance of different sort of players, just showing you the general market motion through December. So we've had what we had last week where the market rose. We can see them rising last year, and then we can see them rising all the way there till the first week of January. We can see this with someone like an Inform, like Dembele, someone a lot cheaper. We can see he rose for the first week there, and then rose for the first week of January. We can then move to G Park Sung. We can see he rose for the first week of January. We can even look at a cheap card like Giroud and see he rose to the first and second week of January. We can look at the likes of Correa and he rose to the first week of January. We can move to the likes of Paqueta and he rose to the second week of January. We can move to an expensive card like Neymar and he rose for the first week of January. And then we can move to something like Bruno Guilherme who rose for the first 2 weeks of January. So we can see across the board that at minimum these players rise 1 week, if not they rise all the way for 2 weeks. And as a result we're going to want to capitalise on that. So what we're going to be doing in today's video is we're going to be going through all the different sort of cards that I think are going to be good investment. So the reality is that you can go and buy any outer pack special card or even gold meta card and they'll rise for the next week or two. So that's the first thing, is if you actually want to go and buy a team, go and buy it this Sunday, basically going into 6 PM or after 6 PM if there's panic selling regarding the Icon or Hero SBC, and you're actually safe to hold on to this team minimum 1 weekend league, if not 2 weekend leagues. Now this is potentially subject to change depending on news round team of the year, but we're seeing the same sort of trends as last year, so again I'd say you're very safe this weekend, and maybe next weekend it's more risky, so that's why there's a reason to pick up your cards this weekend, use them all next week, because going for normal trends, you're only going to make money on the players you buy. So what sort of players do you want to go and buy? Again, if you really want, you can go and buy anything. But what are the most efficient players to buy? So personally, I believe the most efficient players to go and buy are whatever players have risen the highest percentage between the 26th till today, will also have the highest percentage rises next week. That's because if they've had a really high rise between last week and this week, it's demonstrated very high demand. Now, unless that demand is to change due to EVOs, SBCs or promo cards, we should keep seeing that demand going into next week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few different cards that have had some of the highest percentage rises, and as a result, there should be good investments for you guys. So the first set of players we're going to be looking at are going to be the best of players that they re-release. Now normally when something is re-released, a card will absolutely crash. A great example of this is if we look at the likes of Theo Hernandez. Now obviously EA re-released this guy's team of the week, and no points for guessing at what point was it released on this graph. Well, it was re-released here. He went from 320 and he got down there to 109. Now if we look at the absolute lowest, we can see he got down there to literally 105. Well, since he's rebounded from 105 to the likes of 123k, and that's around about, we're looking near 20% rebounds, just under about 17%. So that's a pretty decent rise, but there's been some cards that have had an even better rise. For example, someone like Perisic. Now, one of the reasons Perisic has probably had a better rebound than the likes of Hernandez is because a lot more new players on FIFA, so all the people who got FIFA for Christmas, can afford the likes of Perisic over the likes of Theo Hernandez. Now, they can definitely afford Theo Hernandez, which is why he's up 17%. But if we go and compare that to Perisic, where if we look at his absolute low of 13.5k, he's gone from 13.5k to 19k. Now, yes, that isn't as high K percentage, but who cares? We're looking at return on investment. So this card has basically gone up, well, 5.5k for a 13k card. This card has practically gone up, the best part, about 35%. And that's because that card gone from spam supply to the demand. And obviously he showed really good demand if he's able to go and rise 30%. Now what we believe is on a Sunday we normally get an Icon SBC and a Hero SBC. So what that should do is that should create a bit of panic selling, people selling players in their club to go and do the SBC, people selling players in their club because they're changing their team up, people selling players in their club because they've maybe got a left back or a left mid that we should be using instead of Perisic. So what we should see is we should see Perisic take a little bit of a drop either going into 6 PM on the Sunday or after 6 PM on the Sunday. It doesn't really matter if you miss by, because the percentages that these cards should rise later in the week should make the, let's say Perisic, you might be able to get him for 17k, or let's say you might go down to 17k in the panic selling, you buy him there, and then he goes down to 16k. It's not the end of the world because he's favoured to go up to like 21, 22k. So what's the 1k drop if there's still 4 or 5k profit on him one way or the other? It shouldn't really be the end of the world. So what we'd be looking for is we'd be looking for ideally a 10% drop between what you're looking at the cards now to either going into 6 PM on the Sunday with panic selling around the hero icon, or if not after 6 PM, we'd be looking for like 10%. So basically I'd quite like to get Perisic at like 17k. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hold on to that card all the way through to Friday evening or Saturday. It won't really make any difference. And then you're going to go and sell the card. And then if you want to play a little bit riskier, you can repeat the process next weekend. So Perisic is showing what to be one of the best sort of investments to go and pick up this Sunday, because he's got generally one of the best return on investments. And from my research, the cheaper the cards, the better they are. So if we looked at something like Chikawi, she didn't really have as good of a rebound than if we look at another cheap card of someone like Grealish, who had a better rebound. Do be aware though, there are a few like cheap cards that really haven't moved off discard. For example, someone like Joelinton hasn't moved off discard, Gallagher didn't move off discard. And as a result, these cards are moving off a discard. It's shown a massive lack of demand. Despite them being a cheap re-release player, which again, a fair few of them did well, don't buy the ones that haven't risen, because that's just shown an absolute null and void sort of demand. So next thing we're going to talk about is going to be the Winter Wildcard Team 1 that went out of packs. Now, obviously, these went out of packs on Friday, and stuff that's out of packs are brilliant because there'll be an increase in demand, but no increase in supply. So what we want to do here is we want to look at what players have risen the highest percentages here, because again, it's shown a really good demand. And those are basically some of the cheapest cards right here. So we can see the likes of Enzo Fernandez, who's gone from 68 to 87. We can see the likes of Balde, who's gone from 60 to 78. And we can see the likes of Grimaldo, who's gone from 79 to 99. Yes, you are going to be buying these guys inflated. But again, there should be a bit of panic selling on Sunday. But the idea is if there's been so much demand for them this week, there should be a lot of demand going into them when people are building their teams from Monday to Friday next week. So again, another investment you guys can go and pick up are some of the best performing players in terms of ROI from Winter Wildcard Team 1. Now Team 2 and Team 3 don't actually go out of packs till up and coming Friday, and as a result there'll be an investment on Wednesday. So we're not going to be looking at picking up any of the Winter Wildcards that are in packs, because for the last 3 promos now, current promo cards have been cheapest on the Wednesday, so it's only out of pack promo cards. So again, you know, some of the cheaper cards have been the best return on investment here. We'd be picking up on the likes of the Sunday evening. And the last way how I've gone and picked what sort of players I'd like to go and invest in is using PGP. PGP basically shows us who's been used, you know, what players have been used the most. What we can do is we can go PGP, we can go version, we can scroll down here, and we can go to all specials. Now the relevance of this is obviously specials aren't in packs. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to click on the most used ones of Modric, Klaus. We're not going to go for any of these cards that have had re-release cards recently. João Pedro, Grimaldo had a re-release card, Hierro. And what we're going to do is we're going to see what these guys' rises were. And if it was more than 20% since the 26th, it's shown really good demand. So someone like Modric has gone from 270k to 310. So not bad, not quite 20%, but still wouldn't be too bad of a card. Klaus did 13k to 18k, so that's a good rebound. The likes of Di Lorenzo has gone 14 to 18k, that's been a good rebound. João Pedro's done 315 to 382, that's a good rebound. And basically, I would just go through these players one by one and look for players that have rebounded 20%. But be aware of the Evos. Some of these players have risen a fair bit because of them being able to be used in Evos. For example, obviously some of the informs. So do be aware of that, because obviously that's not guaranteed to be consistent demand, especially if the Evos come into the end. Also, do be aware that if there are any SBCs, Evos, or promo players that potentially replace these players, then the demand may differ this week from last week. So do be aware of that when picking up investments as well. But I think that is about all she wrote. Really looking for cards that are up 20% since the 26th, and you're looking to pick them if they're down 10%, either before 6 PM. If not, you can just pick them up wherever they're going for after 6 PM. Even if they're not down in price, they should rise nicely going into next Friday and Saturday. And again, this trend might happen for 2 weeks, but it's a lot less risky this week than it is next week. That has been that. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.